7 units max of the old, away from the old pipe in that direction. That makes sense. Okay. If, oh, and that's it. So now we set the new Y. Over here we set the new big Y to the current current Y position. Does that make sense? So let's review this. We set a new variable, a new position for Y. Let's make a interim value for Y. var interim Y. So we set this interim Y because to access the position of Y is going to take a while. That's taxing, in other words. So now we just replace interim Y over there. Interim Y. And there we go. We don't have to change this. And that's it. Okay, let's test that out. Hit play. And now all the new pipes. Oh, it's not working. Ah, I made a mistake. Hold on. Go back to my script. So now what's happening is I never changed the value of Y in the beginning. Yeah, so I'm going to change this to interim Y. I think it's still faster. And now transform dot position dot Y equals interim Y. Okay. Looks good. Alright, I think it's gonna work now. Now what we have here are pipes that are never more than 7 units away from the last one. Wow, Incradiator, that's pretty clever of you. Maybe 7 is too high. Seven is too much. Let's change it to 5. Well, Paul, you're pretty lenient. I mean, Incradiator. Okay. Boom. Now all this line of code, I don't like it. So I'm gonna move it down here in a function called setY. I'm gonna take all this code, move it down here, and now I'm just gonna call it back up here. So I don't want all that stuff in my, I don't want it cluttering up my awake function. See, awake, this is the code that gets run prior to start while the game is loading. And you can get into script execution order. That's a whole nother deal. Alright, now let's get the bird going, shall we? Alright, looks good. Now the bird, I'm just gonna make it a sphere for simplicity. So let's get started. You go to game object, create other, sphere, 0 it, run 0 plane, X, Y, Z plane. Let's put it over here. Now, we want to click, 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 and the bird should jump. So let's create a new script and call it bird behavior. Behavior. Okay, so now we go to the sphere, let's rename it, so we don't get confused. Bird, add component, physics, rigid body again, because we want to use gravity this time. Because that's what Flappy Bird's all about. Simple. Now, we want the game to detect our clicks. Now we do that through the update function, which runs every frame. So every frame we're going to create a listener that listens to our left click. And to do that, we use the input class and we grab the get mouse button function. Get mouse button down. Get mouse button grabs the mouse being held down. The mouse button down function gets the click itself. When you push it down, there's a signal that calls that function, and then when you release get button up, that also sends a signal from the mouse, and Unity can capture that as well. So get mouse button down, 0 signifies the left click, 1 I think is middle click, and 2 is right click. So that returns a 0 or a 1, a Boolean value. So we want to put if statement around to close it up. Now if get mouse button down 0, if you click left click, run this code, and that's going to be jumping. But we'll make a fake jumping because that's what I like to do. We go rigid body dot velocity, grab the velocity vector, and we grab the y component, and we set that equal to, I don't know, 7. Simple enough. Rigid body dot rigid body's component, velocity is a vector, 3D vector. We want the y component now. Save, hit play. Whoops, it's not working. I need to drag the script onto the bird. So here it is now. Let's try it again. Boing, 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 boing. Hey, this is starting to look like it, right? Yeah, it sure is. The bird doesn't actually move. Huh. Hey, wait a second. Aw. Well, I never programmed you dying, so let's do that. Now, we want to destroy controls when you get hit by a pipe. So to do that, we use the colliders now. The colliders will interact with each other using Unity physics. And to grab that collision, we do function on collision, enter. And now what we want to do is enabled equals false. So enabled is a variable within the script. It is a variable of the script. And by doing that, it disables the update function and the start function. Everything else will still work. Like on collision enter, that'll still run, even if enabled is false. A lot of functions are like that. You gotta read the reference manual for that. But now, I will lose this line of code I won't lose it, but it won't be active anymore. Now, to speed up the process, I'm going to make the pipes faster, but by doing so, I will, to keep them equally spaced apart, if I double this value, I have to divide the other value by the same amount. So I want to make this -8. Yeah, so that's 4 times. So now I want to do 2 divided by 4. Okay. So now we're going to get faster pipes, and it's all messed up. Why didn't that work? Well, it's doing 2 divided by 4, which is equal to 1/2. But since this is integers, it's actually 0. So all the pipes are spawned at the same time. Now we'll try it. Alright. The pipes are too fast, but that's okay. So let's try that again. Now if I hit a pipe, this is unchecked. It disabled the script. I can't control anymore. Alright. But in Incradiator, the pipes just stop coming. How do you get them back to the other side? Good question. See, instead of using instantiate to create those pipes forever, that's too taxing on the game. So I'm just gonna create a cube, 0 it, and move it to the left. Make it huge. A wall, if you will. I'm gonna make this a trigger. So the pipes don't act on the physics. A trigger is the same thing as a collider. It can detect the collider, except there's no physics. It's just there for detection purposes. Trigger, you trigger it. Alright, so let's go back to our pipe behavior. Pipe behavior, and now we're gonna do function on trigger, enter. That's what gets called whenever you hit a trigger. And now we're gonna set x equal to the initial value. So we're gonna do var large x float, and we're gonna set x equal to transform dot position dot x. Boom. So this value, no matter what x is at the moment, this large X will always be the initial x that it started with. So now we're going to create another function, set y, set x, we're going to call this. Now what this does is we're going to swap these values now. So now when we get here, when it touches the wall, when it touches the cube, we want to call set x, and we also want to reset the value of the y coordinate, because we don't want respawning in the same spot. So now we want to call set y. Alright, which will, it's going to call it and run all this code again. So let's see if that works. Now I'm gonna die, of course, because boom, boom, boom. Now we have unlimited pipes coming from the left. It's an illusion. Of course, it's not actually unlimited pipes. It's just 11 pipes that seem to be infinite.